Hi everyone, and welcome to Soap Scoop, the Inside Soap podcast. We are going to be reacting to that Swarla reunion from last week, and we've also got a little tease of the Debbie trial coming up. Nigel and Julie are getting remarried in EastEnders with a kind of tragedy in the background with poor Nigel's dementia. And then we've got more tragedy, unfortunately, in Emmerdale with Cain and his diagnosis. Big episodes this week. Lots of our favourite characters involved. But first, we're going to dive straight into this Swarla reunion. Johnny, what were your feelings on how they reunited?
Had Lisa not thrown up on a hotel carpet, would they even be together? This is the thing. It's all thanks to the vomit and the hangover, don't you think?
There was a lot
That's
of
how you win
retching,
someone.
wasn't there, last
A lot
week?
of retching, and I thought that's how you win someone's heart. So thank goodness Lisa got so drunk. Drink responsibly, kids. Yeah, I think Carla saw, and we saw, like, a whole other side to Lisa. I think she was so sorry and so desperate to be with Carla. It just like, how could she resist, man? So yeah, I mean, they were going to get back together. It's kind of out there, isn't it? This break apart wasn't going to last for long. So I thought the humor with it was lovely because it wasn't so angsty. It wasn't so let's rake over the coals about, your dead wife and all of this. It was actually, there's a bit of humor in it with the hangover and drunk Lisa and all of that. Tim and Sally got involved. There was that little crossover with them part of it. So I like the levity. Unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, I love when Lisa gets drunk. She's hilarious. I remember it was like last Christmas where she was getting drunk and singing Crazy by Niles Barkley, which is, I don't know why, but that's implanted into my memory forever.
Is it available to stream as a track somewhere?
I mean, it should be on Spotify. I don't know that it is, but I mean, Vicky Myers should be getting that coin for that.
Yeah, and she should. What about Vicky Myers for Masked Singer? She could be Copper.
Wow, that's a good idea, actually. We should pitch it to ITV. You know me, I'm an angst queen. I love the angst, and I think I have to say I missed that in this reunion because
Not enough angst for you.
Not enough. I know they've been through a lot, and I feel like maybe people are sick of talking about Becky and going over all the
and her clothes and her hair and all that,
and her hair and all of that, and how dare you choose her over me and all the rest of that. But I just felt like they've been through so much, even in just the last month. We've had the kidnap, we've had the car crash, we've had Lisa sleeping with Becky, and all of that, and it just felt very glossed over. And I know you had a theory that they are going to revisit it and kind of delve into the layers of that breakup a bit more.
Is anything glossed over in soap? Such a complicated relationship as Swarla. It's out there, and I kind of feel like they've talked enough. Maybe they both felt as characters they've talked enough. Maybe the producers felt we've had a lot of talk about this very angsty relationship. Let's have a week of they'll get back together and it'll be, a bit more levity in it. I feel like nothing is glossed over forever, and so it's going to come back. I feel.
I get your feeling there, and we have talked before, obviously, about perhaps Becky could return, and maybe maybe there is unfinished business there. But I did feel like Carla, for me, I know we had that brilliant moment where Tracy on the doorstep was kind of using a bit of reverse psychology, Tracy Barlow style.
Very clever, very clever. That's the Carla
really great scene. That's the Carla I know. Yeah, exactly. But I just felt like it was 1 minute she was really, banging her pots and pans and aggravating Lisa's hangover.
Yeah, which I would not like if someone did that. And when I was hungover, I would not be pleased. Please.
No, well, she did go to make a love confession and then vomit again. So
get the vomit. Vomit was the start. Yeah, vomit is best supporting actor this week.
I liked the humor. I loved the Tim and Sally stuff. But for me, I was like, where's the romance? I really wanted a big sweeping romantic reunion because I felt like we'd had this great angsty stuff and breakup. Their 8-minute breakup scene, one of my favorite scenes and beautifully acted. And it just felt like, okay, kiss, made up. Carla saying we'll take it slow. And that's that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. There's a lot not said. So I will say that. And I don't know, maybe Carla just literally thinks, well, I know I want to be with her, but there's a lot unsaid and there's a lot of unfinished business. But for now, let's just carry on. That's quite, I don't know, you can kind of relate to that a bit. But yeah, it kind of, maybe there was a bit of a missed opportunity for some proper, let's get into it. But it's Swarla. There's got to, if they talked about everything next week, like what we can talk about, talked about it all on Thursday. There's got to be some.
I
tell you what I did. I feel like obviously I feel that's going to come. I do understand, but I don't worry. I think the Swarla drama gods will hear you. They basically said wedding bells in spring, right? And we've talked about this on the podcast already. So I think we are heading for perhaps wedding vibes. They may get married, they may not. Something Lisa said in these episodes really stayed with me. Toya was being a bit judgy about Lisa drinking that whole day. And Toya said, "Oh, I think you've had enough," or something like that. And Lisa said, "Oh, you sound like my mum." And I thought I'd like to meet Lisa Swain's mum. Maybe she's coming to the wedding. Maybe she doesn't get on with her mum and they've got a complicated backstory. It's going to unlock some more Swarla drama and we're going to get that. Because I think, exploring Lisa's family, surely that's something to kind of, as we get to know her more, obviously we've met Betsy, we've met Becky. So I'm thinking, are they saving it for Super Soap Week in May or June when they're going to have another massive falling out? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel like, because my opinion on that is I'd love to see more of Lisa's family, particularly her mum. I think that would be a really fun dynamic. I can just imagine her being, mother-in-law from hell and driving Carla berserk. But I wonder whether piling more kind of tension. I mean, obviously, we know soap is a continuum of drama, tension, conflict. But I just feel like this particular conflict was so huge for so many months. And it just feels like, right, that's done with. We're going to move on to the next thing. So I'd like to see something that kind of prods their issues around this. So maybe some insecurity from Carla. I just want a big blow up. It doesn't even need to be like an argument that leads to another split. I just want to see them have it out and just go, you slept with Becky. And Carla kind of, I was kidnapped by her. Where's your empathy for that? There you were having a lovely Christmas, and I was tied in a cupboard.
Back in my face, please, would you just do me the honor of chucking this my way? Yeah, you just want an argument. I mean, yeah.
I want argument, and then I want romance because
you don't want much, do you?
I don't want much.
Well, it's Valentine's Day coming up. Maybe your prayers will be answered.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice to have a bit of Sally and Tim having a bit of domestic argument, and then that was really good fun. I really enjoyed that.
I really like
I just feel like, I've said this online recently that at the moment soaps are doing a lot of kind of sad stories and murder and crime and whodunits, and I would just like to see that bit of love and romance and fun. Even bring in, a bit of silliness. Yeah, just relationships.
Yeah, it's there.
But I think there's as much drama in a romance as there is in a murder, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And when you just focus on the relationship and let the relationship breathe and be and be the thing that draws you in, not just the whodunit, not just the serial killer or whatever. We love those and they have their place, but it's all about balance, isn't it? I think Carla kind of summed it up. I wrote this down in my, I have my notepad of truth. At one point when Carla and Lisa were still at odds, and Carla, I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to work. And they're like, but we've got stuff to talk about. And Carla said, because can't let you down like people. I think sage words from Carla.
Very good advice.
You down like people. So there you go. I think that's the lesson learned from Swarla.
But perhaps only if you buy them from Underworld, because because can let you down. Yeah. If the elastic is bad.
You're not getting them from the right place. You need to put an order in with Underworld, please. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Listen to Carla.
Yeah. Well, I hope we do get to see those issues raked over a little bit, even just a small amount, just because I feel like there was too much rushing through, I think. And that's actually one interesting point I've seen this week. Obviously we've had a change of format now with Corrie. We've gone back to the half-an-hour episodes, which has been quite a change of pace, I think.
Yeah, it's really noticeable, I think, in the good way. I actually am a fan of the half hour. I think that's that's where soap is for me, as I'm a bit of a dinosaur. Yeah, Corrie's been an hour for quite a while now, for a good few years, and I prefer the half hour, and I do find the pace is stepped up, and I do find it's like the Sally and Tim bit of the Carla story was just a fun. That would have been too stretched, I think, in longer format episodes. I like it. I feel like maybe if you got used to the hour, you're still getting used to the half hour. Soaps were half hour for like 60 years. So I think that's really where they thrive. But interesting to hear what people think. And maybe that's part of what you felt about the Swarla thing, because they were half hour eps and you had to get to a certain point in each ep across 5 nights. 5 nights. We could watch it on ITVX from 7 a.m. All right, Grandad. You know, you did have a different pace of storytelling. I think it's finding its groove again, but I like it. I think it's what soap is to me, but I don't know. Yeah, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I definitely prefer the half an hour format, but it has been a different experience, I think. I guess certain stories work better in half an hour than the hour. Like you were saying, the comedy side of it perhaps does. Or maybe just even maybe the storylines that you're not that interested in, you don't mind watching when they're scattered in a half hour. But if you're watching an hour chunk and they're the main story, and sometimes you're like, oh, I'm not that bothered about this storyline.
Be a bit of a slog,
but
yeah,
I did think it was interesting how I wonder whether the writers are getting used to it as well, because they've got, I think it's in one episode, Tyrone was going to go around to Carl's and attack him. And then the next episode, we saw him, you know, with his crutch against Carl's chest going, you know, who ran me over? And I thought that feels like should have been an hour-long episode.
Yeah.
Like I wondered whether I'd missed something, build, you know?
Yes, I did think that actually. Yeah, I did that because the episode started and he was right in.
And I was like, what did I miss? I missed Tyrone going around there. Like, what happened?
Where's
so I guess it's just a slight change. Yeah, which happened the day before.
Well. Yeah, you kind of, it is, that particular bit was a bit jarring, really. But then, because I couldn't stop laughing my head off at, like, Tyrone's trying to beat up Carl Webster. It's, you know, I might as well try and beat up Carl Webster. Like, really, Ty? Come on, I know you're upset, but I really wouldn't try that.
I'm just amazed that Carl's getting away with it. He's such a smooth talker. He's so able to just go, yeah.
He's got a Jedi mind powers. Yeah, it's like, no, you have no, you misunderstand it. No, it's someone else. No, it's that person over there. No, look over there. I mean, absolute power, like literally superpowers for evil. So, I mean, come up and coming, surely. Well, we have got the trial coming out. Yes. I think that's going to be next week. So in today's issue of Inside Soap, available now, that's one of the big stories we're kind of covering that is on screen next week. Could this be where Carl cannot talk his way out of something? Because is the truth going to come out? Is Debbie going to go to prison? I don't know. There's a lot coming up next week, isn't there? What can we tease?
Yeah,
what can we tease our viewers?
Well, something about Mother of All Secrets. So I wonder what that could be.
I wonder what that could be. That's got to come out, surely. And that's
gonna come out.
That will make Carl. That will make Carl. It could go either way. Like it could. I've been thinking about is he going to then confess all and help Debbie, or is he going to feel so aggrieved that this secret was kept from him? He doubles down and he, you know, sends her to prison, locks her up himself. I don't know that. Yeah. So we kind of get into that point, and it's going to be, it's going to be dramatic.
Yeah. I can't wait. I feel like Debbie's storyline, obviously the dementia is a massive part of it, but we're seeing dementia in EastEnders at the moment in quite a different way with Nigel. And it's a big week for Nigel and Julie this coming week. They've got their vow renewal, which is a lovely kind of moment of levity and tenderness between them, obviously against Nigel's declining health. But we also know that things are very strained with Phil and Julie at the moment. Phil tried to take Nigel to Portugal without her knowing, which, I mean, great plan, Phil. I don't know what was going through your head then. But yeah, it's a very different story from Debbie's, isn't it, in terms of dealing with the dementia?
Yeah, it really is. I think Debbie has become much more... Other plots have kind of crossed over into it. So you've got the dementia, and, you know, she's been living with that diagnosis for nearly a year. And then into that comes the crash and the secret about, you know, her being Carl's mum. And that kind of then connects to all of Carl's wrongdoings, like the affair with Abby, running over Tyrone, trying to fleece Debbie, and all his, and the James affair. So it's a bit more plotty, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I feel it's more people are involved, more characters are involved, and stakes of big stories and drama and secrets are in it. It isn't just the dementia, and again, I don't mean that horribly. Big plots have come in with the dementia story to drive it along, and that's very different to what EastEnders are doing. And EastEnders aren't trying to do that; they're doing it in a much more stripped back way, and it's much more about the relationships of the person with this condition. You know, his wife, his best friend, you know, the community. But it's more focused on a smaller group of people. Does it delve a bit deeper into it for that reason? I don't know. What do you think? Because we all love Debbie, and it's been such a great plot, but other plots are kind of going on around it. Whereas Nigel feels more focused. They're both great.
Yeah,
both doing it really well. Yeah. Do you think the the way Enders are choosing to tackle it goes that bit deeper emotionally. Does it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's difficult because I suppose Nigel's story is much further along. I mean, we're not seeing Debbie at the same point that we're
true.
seeing Nigel.
Yeah.
Whether
We
things
never
will
saw him
change when it comes to
diagnosed.
Debbie's illness. No, exactly. And obviously by the time we met Nigel again, things were much worse.
Yes, that's
But
true.
I have loved delving into Phil and Nigel's friendship so much. I think
Yeah, I love
that's
that.
been beautiful. It's been almost like a love story in a strange way. Like their friendship, like bromance. When they went on their little treasure hunt, that was one of my favorite episodes. I just thought it was just it just felt so real, like two old mates getting together, and I like the history of it all. I'd really love to see Grant again, just to kind of close that chapter of all three of them.
Yes, I would love that. I think it was really like Nigel's the episode just before Christmas where Nigel had, was transported back in time, and we saw Pat and Barry and all of that, and the young Mitchell, the young Grant and Phil from the Jamie Winston flashback eps. That made me feel like I really hope Grant can appear at some point in this storyline. I know Ross Kemp pops back for special occasions. So yeah, both Phil and Grant are really close friends with Nigel, but you feel like initially it was Grant who was the best mate because they were the same age at school, and then it was Phil as the older brother. They're all like, Grant's an honorary Mitchell. But I would really like Grant to be there for Nigel and to revisit that. I think because we had Phil's story last year of his own mental health journey and coming to terms with a lot of things and feeling strong enough to then help other people who were like, facing big challenges and really difficult things. They put him in that place to then help Nigel. Do you know what I mean? Phil couldn't be doing this if he hadn't have had that whole year-long story and thinking about his own past and his own upbringing. And Nigel's a part of that. Nigel was there as a teenager. Nigel saw all of this, and again, like an honorary Mitchell. I like as an old man and as a lifelong soap fan, and seeing EastEnders from day one. I'm really touched by the bond of friendship that Phil and Nigel have, and how it's helping Nigel through this, very, very sad time and this condition. Yeah, I think the vow renewal, past the climax. I mean, but also Phil and Julie have really fallen out, as you say. So is Phil going to be welcomed at this vow renewal? I feel like there is a bit of a schism.
I mean, he absolutely isn't invited, and Julie is very adamant that he's not going.
They're talking about their best friends, and then he's not even allowed to go.
I mean, in that way, it's true, because Nigel goes to him believing that he's his best man, and then being confused as to why Phil's not invited. So there's that tension there. But we do know that Phil does go to the wedding. Is he going to ruin it? But he's actually hiding a secret of his own, because he knows there's space at the care home for Nigel now, but he's holding that back from Julie because he does not want Nigel to go into the care home. So that tension is going to kind of explode, I'd imagine. And will Nigel end up in a care home? I mean, it's a very realistic ending. I think it's really hard for Phil because he just wants to save Nigel and rescue Nigel, and he can't do that. And whether Wolford is the right place for him now, I don't know. And it's incredibly sad. And I'm really intrigued as to what's going to happen to Phil after this storyline, and when Nigel's gone, like what direction are we going to see for Phil? Because there's a part of me that loves this softer side, but I would feel sad if we lost kind of, hard
alpha male Phil, hard man Phil. I mean, is anyone else getting a Phil and Julie vibe of?
Wow, I did get a little tingle,
I've had that, and I feel, I mean, the day will come and Nigel is no longer with us, and we will mourn and we will weep and we will shut our curtains for a month. But I have felt in the kind of push and pull of Julie and Phil, there has been a sort of spark of something. And when Nigel is no longer here, they're going to really be, I don't know, will they be looking for kind of emotional support in all the wrong places? Would they do that? I don't know. How would fans feel about that? I'm not suggesting like
she's not really Phil's type, is she? She's not quite the blonde bombshell.
No, that's true. But
I could see like a moment of comfort. You know what I mean? Like a very
more.
Yeah, a very like, oh, we shouldn't have done that, but we're almost like we're doing it for Nigel, but not.
It's what he would have wanted.
It's what I would have wanted. Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, maybe it's in his will. I'd like Phil and Julie to have an affair. Thank you.
Yeah.
Last will and testament. Yeah. Oh, interesting. I feel like it's the kind of thing that a soap opera would maybe do.
Yeah.
I'm talking about down the
Yeah.
line. Don't come for me, folks, because I'm not saying that Nigel's going to be on his deathbed and they'll be snogging. But I don't know, maybe see it. But you are right, like post Nigel, because this story has to come to an end at some point. What is there for Phil? And the Mitchells are quite depleted as well. Sam is back. Sam's going through her own big thing. So he's got Sam to kind of look after. But yeah, do you know what I love? Phil and George, their friendship. I really like that.
Yeah, that's quite unexpected, isn't it?
And we've had not as much of that since Nigel's taken Phil's, obviously he's his priority, completely understandable. I like Phil and George helping to help each other out and sort stuff out when things get a bit tasty. It's like they're really, George helped Phil out quite a lot when he had his, mental health issues, which George has had his own of as well. I like them, more of them together maybe once Nigel is no longer with us.
They'll
still
be down
the
the
gym or
boxing den.
something.
Yeah, they'll be down the den in no time.
Yeah, get down the den, have a chat, put the world to rights. Yeah, I like that. But it's going to be, sounds like a really sad week coming up with the vow renewal. Like quite happy tears, but sad tears as well.
Yeah, I think you have to have those moments, don't you, of like beautiful ceremonies, or we've had a lot of sad, we've covered it in the mag actually, a lot of sad ceremonies that then, lead to tragedy afterwards. But I think you need that moment of, like you say, happy tears before
poignancy.
Tragedy strikes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But while we're on the subject of alpha males, we have to talk about the Dales, and their biggest alpha male, Cain Dingle, is really going through it. We've got lots of males going through it at the moment. He's got cancer, and it's a really big week for him.
Yeah, massive week coming up. So we saw in Corrie that there was, yes, you've been shot by John Sugden, and you're going to be fine. But bad news, look like cancer. That is confirmed in episodes coming up. And so Cain has prostate cancer. Big story for him. He gets his diagnosis confirmed on what stage the cancer is at. Kind of on the same, like the day after, Moira is arrested and then subsequently charged with double murder, because we know Celia kind of set it up to kind of frame Moira all along. Celia now is in this shallow grave with poor Anya. Moira's DNA is all,
and Anya's got the blanket.
Anya's got the blanket. So it's just all such a mess. And as the bodies are found, Moira is already looking guilty because Robert planted evidence so that Joe didn't tell anyone the truth about John. But Joe and Robert did not realise this was going to get really, really tasty. They just thought to take the heat off. So Moira is looking at life in prison for something she didn't do. Cain gets this diagnosis and thinks, well, I'll have to tell my wife, but how's that going to make her day any better? She's in prison for something she didn't do. What we're going to have then is Emmerdale. Get ready, folks. It's another special episode. They love their special episodes, Emmerdale. I think they did almost a whole week of them last autumn, didn't they? We got another one. This one sounds a bit like what Corrie did with David and Shona's episode last year when they found out that, their unborn baby had some sort of medical issues. So it's all from kind of Cain's point of view. It's Cain's day, of the day he's going to go to the hospital, get results, how he reacts to that information, and what he chooses to do with it, and why he gets to the point where he looks like he keeps it to himself. And I think you're going to hear Cain's inner thoughts, right? I think Cain's inner thoughts are going to be just grunts or like yes, no.
Yeah.
I wonder if Cain's inner voice is actually quoting Proust or Oscar Wilde or talking about theory of relativity.
I feel like it's a shame it's not after 9 p.m. because I feel like his inner thoughts might be quite different.
I think that too. Maybe we'll have a bonus post-Watershed ITVX episode. Yeah, so it's Cain. Yeah, we're going to get inside Cain's head. I mean, I'm scared.
I actually preferred the David and Shona episode that we had recently where they had Dr. Harper come in. And it was a whole episode focused on their story, but we didn't actually get into their heads. And I am a bit of a, like you say, you're a dinosaur. I'm a bit of a dinosaur in this respect because I don't know that I want to be in my soap character's head. I quite like just seeing their faces.
I don't even want to be in my head.
It's a bit weird. It's a bit peep show. And I think it kind of borderlines on that. The Shona and David, that was a bit like, you're too close. Like, back off a bit. Like, I don't need to see your
personal
nostrils.
Space.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like I was in a lift or on a tube at rush hour. Like,
yeah, it's too close. It's too close. I love Cain. I mean, who doesn't love Cain? He's such an amazing character, and Jeff is just absolutely fantastic actor. I don't feel like I need to hear him. I feel like we can see on his face like what he's feeling. But it's weird to say I'm looking forward to it because I don't necessarily want to see Cain have cancer, but I just know that Jeff's going to do an amazing job, and Cain and Moira are, the most incredible couple. I love them. I'm heartbroken for them, but I just know that Jeff and Natalie Robb are just going to do an amazing job.
They're going to bring it. Well, you know what? You wanted drama from Swarla that you felt perhaps you didn't get as much as you wanted. Perhaps all the drama points have been used up by ITV soaps, and all the drama has been transferred from the Swarla account to the Coira account.
It's all going to be Coira.
Yeah.
Coira.
So
all for Coira.
Coira have stolen all the drama from everybody else this week. We have
they've got 100% angst.
100% angst. Satisfaction guaranteed. Desperation guaranteed. So we have a great interview with Jeff Hordley in the issue of Inside Soap that's out this week, and he kind of says about filming this special episode. That's great for the actors as well. Like, I know it can be sometimes to the point of, well, do you know what? I'd like an episode that is just chronological with no background music and no jump cuts. But, they have their place.
We're old, Johnny. We're old.
That's because we're old. And it's not
traditional soap formats.
I find them really interesting. I just don't want them to not be a novelty. That's my only kind of word of warning of it. But they are, I always say this and I watch them like, oh, that was great. So it's going to be great. They're always good, right? But the balance of let's not have them every day. That's just my point. About it. But it is going to be great. And it is, after all these years, and you say, I don't really want to go inside Cain Dingle's head. Yes, Jeff can do that performance. We know. Yes, the script can just do it all with real minimal dialogue because Cain is a man of few words, but we know so much about him for someone who never really talks that much. And that is the genius of the character creation, the writing, the performance, the directing, all of it. However, it is a different, we've never really gone into his head. The most we saw Cain open up, I think, was when Faith had her illness and Faith died, and those scenes, and Zach's death. I am quite intrigued to kind of know what is going on in Cain's head. And it is a bit like Phil showing himself so, he was so vulnerable in his big story last year. And if you'd have said that 6 months before, we're going to strip Phil Mitchell back and we're going to see really vulnerable, would you I don't know, that doesn't sound like Phil. I like Phil the way he is. Do you know what I mean? I think this is interesting. We have never really interrogated what's Cain really thinking, what's in his head. I do find that quite interesting. So we'll see. But I still think it's going to be grunts.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Jeff does tease is, I guess, a special episode, but not quite in the same way, that he has filmed the longest scene that he's ever done with Natalie J. Robb, which I'm really up for that.
I cannot wait. So he teased this. It's not in this week, and it's coming up because this is obviously a long.
It's a big tease for the future. Yeah,
it's a big tease for the future. He's only just filmed it, he said, and he said it was something like 10-15 minutes long. It's him and Natalie, Cain and Moira in a very dramatic situation, and he said, it's unlike any other scene I've ever done. And he said, and that will feel like a two-hander, almost a two-hander, but not a two-hander episode. But even two-hander episodes have different scenes, have different setups, and move around. So, I wonder if it'd be continuous take, like Adolescence or Touch of Evil. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I heard Natalie J. Robb speak the other day, and it kind of did sound like it might be that.
If it's one take,
I can't say any more on that, but that would be great if it was.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I think
have we had a Cain and Moira handle before? I don't.
Well, I was just thinking, the closest to it, I want to say it was around lockdown time-ish. Obviously, the soaps were made a bit differently in those, in that period, and there was a few more, there was less people in each scene, and there were a few more longer two-handers. When around that time, hadn't Cain and Moira split because of Nate, because of the affair? It was the Nate stuff,
and the two-hander was between Cain and Aaron, as they were both kind of dealing with their relationships ending. That was a really great episode.
And then
I don't think we had
there was Cain and Moira's reunion at that point. I'm sure was a lockdown episode or around that time, and they did
the sun setting.
The sun setting, was that a two-hander? That was quite a long.
I don't know whether it was two-hander, but they were walking towards each other. Moira was on the field, there was a tractor, the sun was setting.
Oh, Chloe, you're back there. You're back there.
I'm back there. I love them, so I remember it well. And also, obviously, lockdown, we were prevented from any kisses or getting too close. So it had to be done in a slightly different way. And it was them walking towards each other with the sun setting and them smiling and agreeing to reunite. I mean, that was as close as we could get to romance during COVID times.
It's true. It's true.
Which,
I feel like that was quite a deep dive moment of obviously not as long as this scene coming up, but I don't think we've had like a full episode two-hander of Cain and Moira. I don't think we have, and that would be something fantastic, obviously, in the future. But this sounds like the closest we're going to get to it. But yeah, really kind of really tough times, and also a bit of fun fact. So the director of this episode, Jeff gives a shout out to, is a guy called Paul Copeland. I'm pretty sure he's also an actor, and he played Charity's dad. At some
is
point,
it the same Paul Copeland?
I think it's the same Paul Copeland because Rhys Dinsdale played
amazing.
Bradley Johnson, Vinny's dad. He also directs the show. A lot of actors do both, or actors direct as well. On soaps, you have a lot of that. If you like us and you're a bit geeky, you pay attention to the credits. I'm pretty sure it's the same Paul Copeland. If it isn't, and I'm wrong, I apologize to the other Paul Copeland. But I kind of think it is. So yeah.
He is also in The Archers as Leonard, for people who watch it, listen to The Archers like me.
Listen to The Archers. I probably got the wrong guy, but if I have, I'm sorry. But I love the thought that Charity's dad is directing this huge episode for Cain Dingle.
Yeah, that would be amazing. No, I mean, Cain and Moira are such an amazing couple, and they're both fantastic actors. Even though it is more sadness and misery for these two, the scenes are going to be incredible, aren't they? Do you know what the answer is, though? Bear, yet again. Bear is the answer to Moira's problems. But where is Bear? They need to go on a bear hunt.
They need to go on a bear hunt. Don't get a bear hug because we know what can happen. Yeah, Bear, please beware of Bear. Bear, show yourself, because Moira needs to be saved. But Paddy is poker face Paddy, who spent weeks just pretending he didn't know what was going on. Is he sitting back while Moira's getting done for murder? I don't know. Yeah, Bear.
No, double murder as well. I mean, that's the thing. How is she going to get out of this without Bear appearing? And
without Bear,
yeah, there's so many, like we said before, this plot is so tightly raveled with lots of different characters that it takes a lot for Moira to be rescued. It takes Bear to maybe confess. There's a lot of plot twists involved to get to a point where people are free, and that's not going to be easy.
And Bear is the key. Who'd have thought this time last year Bear Wolf literally would be the key to everything in Soapland? Who'd have thought? But we're here for it. And yeah, come on, he needs to be let out of that Laura Ashley decorated room.
Yeah, is that Paddy's attic? I'm trying to work out like where it is.
No, I think it's.
Why wouldn't they search there?
Where it is.
So what you're saying is he's locked up somewhere in an industrial estate.
He's in a retail park in Hotton.
Oak Furniture Land or something.
He's in Oak Furniture Land in a retail park in Hotton. That's where he is. I don't know where that room is. I don't know. Maybe we should know. No, but yeah, no one else.
Investigate.
It's somewhere that nowhere's looking.
Well, lots of big things happening to all our favourite characters this week. We've got, like we say, Moira being banged up, Cain cancer, poor Nigel and Julie, and we've got Debbie's trial in Corrie and the Swarla reunion. What are your thoughts? Were you satisfied? Did you think it was too rushed? Let us know down below in the comments. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.